The ANC knew that Hamas would be attacking Israel before October the 7th. This is a shocking allegation, and if it's true, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, here's an article by Thabo Makwakwa in IOL that just came out. Essay accused of prior knowledge in Hamas attack. So I'm going to share with you what we do know, and we're going to see what this shocking bombshell is saying. And as usual, I'm going to end with a biblical reaction. So here's the article: Essay accused of prior knowledge in Hamas attack. Okay, so there's a human rights group in the United Kingdom. They sent a letter on March the 27th, which Thabo Makwakwa saw from this human rights group, that says that South Africa had legal actions against Israel are part of a bigger Hamas strategy. Whew, this is too much. Let's read. So Lewis is currently involved in an investigation, and this all comes from when Hamas jumped the border, and in December 2023, then South Africa took Israel to the court, saying that they are doing a genocide, and we know in our parliament they were wearing the scarves, and all of that began to happen. Now, here's what happened on October the 7th. Hamas gunmen crossed from the Gaza Strip into southern Israel, and 1,200 Israeli citizens were killed, and there was an abduction of 252 hostages. Now, let me just read until here and then tell you what we do know and what I've observed. In retaliation, after 1,200 Israelis were killed and 252 hostages were taken, Israel launched military operations in Gaza, which we heard in our media. They kept saying, the children. But now listen to what Lewis is saying. Lewis alleged that evidence exists demonstrating that the South African government was aware of Hamas's planned attack before they happened on October 7, 2023. Wait, let's read that again. Lewis is alleging that he has evidence that shows that the South African government, it was Nalendi Pandor in Durko that time, knew about Hamas's planned attacks before they happened on October 7. This is an allegation. But what do we know? Here's a few things that we've heard. We do know from the DA that when they were negotiating the GNU, the ANC was reportedly very strong on, you may be the biggest GNU partner, but you will not get a deputy minister in international affairs. They kept the DA and all other GNU partners completely out of it. So in some of the other key ministries, they gave a DA a deputy. But on this one, we heard from the DA that the ANC was like, you're not coming close, right? Here's a second thing we do know. Because I'm a believer and I sing Jerusalem, Ikayalam, engilithandayo ofeza nini umzamo wami. So when the attack happened on October 7, it got my attention. Here's the next thing that was interesting. And I spoke about it in the video, which you can find at the bottom right here. But I was kind of, when 252 people were taken, one of them was a South African. As far as I remember, after October 7, the attack, not before Israel hit back, I remember that our Department of International Relations phoned Hamas to say, we give you support. Okay, that was kind of strange in a war situation like that, after an attack like that, where apparently babies were put in ovens and a lot of things happened. Now, I also remember then that I got information because of my interest as a believer that a South African was among those 252. So I kept my eyes open to see the media say something. Now, I waited until I gave up, until the lady was released back later. Now, when she came out of hostage and landed back in South Africa, all of South Africa media never mentioned when she was kidnapped. They never mentioned when she was held hostage. They never mentioned when she was released. They never mentioned when she came back. And I think that's kind of strange. Also, there have been rumors that I'm sure you've heard as much as I've heard them, that remember just before voting came for the May 29, 2024 elections, the ANC owed money and they'd lost the case and their building was being attached and the staff were striking all the time because they were not paid. And then what happened is the ICJ case happened, and immediately straight after that, the ANC building was paid, staff was paid, there were no problems, and they were able to finance their campaign. And so we've heard rumors from people saying ANC took money from Iran to pay for that. Okay, so it was rumors. So now here's the next thing that happened now in 2025. When Donald Trump released that executive order, he complained about three things, and I talk about it in that video at the bottom that was called Leave Trump Alone or something like that. But you can find it at the bottom. He said, I have three problems with South Africa: the race-based laws. I have a problem with something else. Forgot the second thing. And all of them was just a problem with working against our interests. So there was the race-based laws, there was something else, and there was that you are helping Iran with commercial and nuclear arrangements. And I remember wondering, why did the media, the South African media, which is mostly made up of ANC employees, why did none of them talk about the Iran thing? Because that's shocking if someone accuses us of helping with nuclear weapons. So, and all the media immediately moved on to turn this to, it's just about AfriForum lying. AfriForum is lying and confusing BEE, and it's about all the stuff that makes black people angry, which is the only product that the ANC has, we know, is black anger and black envy. So, but none of the media touched on that. Only 2 months later, that was answered. So, I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying the things that I do know. Now, the last thing, Helen Zille spoke about this here. And this is what she said.
It is important to understand what is going on. And it is really difficult at the moment. I read a lot about politics globally and locally, and to work out what is going on is extremely difficult in the current circumstances. When you're a Minister of Foreign Affairs, you've got to know what's going on. You've got to have people at the highest level in the major partners that we have to find out what's going on from the inside. You have to look at what South Africa's interests are, not your own party. South Africa can gain nothing from cozying up to Iran at this time. Absolutely nothing. There is no advantage in it. And look, I don't want to say anything that I can't absolutely staff, as they say in Afrikaans, with numbers and figures. But it's not a coincidence, I don't believe, that while Nomvula Mokonyane was hosting the Iranian delegation on behalf of the ANC at Luthuli House, it was reported that the ANC could no longer pay its staff anymore and that they're bankrupt again. Now, I just join these dots and I draw conclusions that I'm sure the BizNews audience is clever enough to draw for themselves.
Okay, so she says she's joining the dots that why is it that they owe money and Iran comes. Here's something else we know, but do you remember this before voting time?
The Patriotic Alliance is days away from celebrating a decade of its existence. As it takes stock of the party's journey over the years, it also took an opportunity to tackle issues of national importance. The party is in support of a two-state solution in the Middle East.
PA is going according to our truth. We shall never stand here because it's not fashionable today to say that Jewish people are not our enemies. It's not fashionable today to say we want peace between Israel and Palestine. It's not fashionable, but that's what we are saying. We are saying the most unfashionable thing at the moment. And if that means you are not going to vote for us, then don't vote for us. But this is our truth. And you should know we want a two-state solution. We don't care if a child died, if it's a Palestinian child or Israeli child. We care about the child dying.
The party also revealed that an ultimatum was given to them by the governing party to withdraw their support for Israel or face a fallout with their coalition agreements in certain municipalities.
Then the ANC gave us an ultimatum. We must turn our backs on Israel or they will expel us from the coalitions. We've been told tomorrow is the deadline. When is Thursday tomorrow? Tomorrow is the deadline. So I want to answer right here. We have Muslims in our party. Those Muslims are standing with Palestine. Got no problem with that. We support them in their freedom of choice. I am awash again with the Lamb of the blood Christian.
Blood of the Lamb.
My Bible commands me to stand with Israel. My Bible says to me, he who curses Israel is cursing himself. He who blesses Israel is blessing himself. So call me what you want. Even if I get one vote or we get two votes, I will not listen to the ANC. I will listen to the Bible.
Asked what the way forward would be in terms of coalitions with the ANC, this is what the party had to say.
The issue of the ultimatum, we always wait. You see, Malula has not made that statement, so we are waiting. Our motto is touch is a move. We don't move until you touch. So we are waiting for the touch. Then we will move.
Mckenzie says the party has done exceptionally well over the past years and will be a force to be reckoned with in the future.
Okay, so the ANC, we do also know they gave apparently an ultimatum to say stop backing Israel. So now all of this time, we've all known that it's who they side with because of history and all of that. But certain things are being said now that I don't know. Can I hear from you in the comments? You let me know what do you think? What's going on here? What is actually going on? So Lewis alleged that evidence exists demonstrating that the South African government was aware that Hamas was planning to attack Israel before October 7 when they attacked. He claimed that elements within the Department of Internet of DIRCO actively supported Hamas's political strategy by facilitating access to the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, with Hamas as a non-signatory could not access otherwise. Meaning they sat and said, okay, we are going to attack, but we can't take them to court. Okay, so we are ready. By the time you attack, we'll be planning to take them to court, and we'll talk about how bad it is when they respond. As part of a political strategy, preparations were made before the October 7 atrocity against Israel to set mechanisms in place for approaching the ICJ for protection from Israel's anticipated response. So they planned to go to court before Hamas even attacked. He likened this situation to assisting a neighbor to burn his house down, then rushing to the court to claim insurance protection from your insurer. Sure, this is a bombshell. So it's been sent to the ambassador that's been appointed to come to South Africa, and he says he reached out to the GNU to question whether President Ramaphosa was aware of this. And you remember the GNU is the ANC only in DIRCO, and of course they didn't quite get an answer. So as the situation develops, it remains to be seen how the US government will respond to these allegations and whether they will impact the broader diplomatic relationship with South Africa. I tell you now, if this comes out to be kind of true in any kind of way, I can tell you, and they tried to speak to Bozell, the American ambassador, who's still to be processed and come to South Africa. He did not respond to Thabo Makwakwa at it used to be called the Star, at IOL. Whoa! What are your thoughts? Let me hear from you at the bottom. So here's what my biblical reaction is. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when a wicked man rules, the people groan. Because it takes a certain level of honesty to produce economic growth. Do you know that corruption is not just about what people stole, but all investors track how corrupt a country is. So it actually stops economic growth. That's why it's important that you do not vote for parties that clearly don't take action, quick action, when there's an allegation of corruption. Because if you do that, you're the one who will groan. But when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. So Psalm 122, this is all I'm doing, says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. Peace be within your walls, prosperity within your palaces. For the sake of my brothers and my companions, I will now say, peace be within you. Because of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good. This is what the PA was quoting where God said, I will bless those who bless you and I will curse him who curses you. Listen, let me tell you something. If these allegations are true, hunger is coming. Suffering is coming. Bloodshed has been released. I am telling you, it is important that we don't vote from our past, but we vote for our future. So that's the story, people. I don't know what your thoughts are. Press the like button. And as I close, I'm going to say, no man can serve two masters. Either he will love the one and hate the other, or he will respect the one and disrespect the other. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. So, cling, cling, ring that bell so you catch the next video. But for today, this is me saying, let's make history together. Cheers.